Hey everyone, it is Kevin Henry, Editor-in-Chief for DrBicuspid.com. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Cellerant CEO podcast series, where we're going to tap into the mindset of some of the great CEOs that are out there. And today we are doing that with Suzanne Cano, who is the founder of LunaLite Dental. Hey Suzanne, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing great. I'm glad we get a few minutes to talk. I'm anxious to learn about not only this product, but also about your mindset as an entrepreneur. But before we dive into that, tell our audience a little bit more about you.
Yeah, my name is Suzanne. First of all, I want to thank you for having me on your show. And I have been in the dental industry for about 28 years. This also includes dental assisting, and this is how I started off in dental, basically in the dental industry. So I went from dental assisting to sales, marketing, and training as well. So I have many years as far as training. And so for many years, I was out in the industry learning all new technologies, training on new technologies, creating content material for anything from cone beam technology, imaging systems. So anything with the imaging was really what I was involved in. Now, for a couple years, I also worked with Straumann. So I was a Straumann rep in the California area for a while. And so then when I moved to North Carolina, this is where I'm at now,
Yeah.
I started LunaLite. LunaLite is an X-ray positioner, and the device itself is just to help assistants learn how to position the X-ray if you're taking a bisecting technique. And so most offices don't like to use that bisecting technique, but sometimes you have to because you can't use that ring holder on everyone.
Yeah.
So, and that's basically who I am and what I do and how long I've been in the industry for.
Well, we're going to have you on the Dental Assistant Nation podcast as well, so you can talk to those
Oh, I would love
assistants.
it.
Absolutely. So we're definitely going to make that happen. But I've got to ask you the obvious question. So obviously, this is, as you said, a device that helps with dental X-rays. Is this something you kind of came up with during your days as a dental assistant?
No, I did not. This came 6 years ago. It came through a dream.
Oh,
So I had this really crazy dream, and this dream, I saw myself drawing a device. And when I woke up, I started drawing the device I was seeing in my dream. And so I woke up with this whole energy. It was like this whole amazing energy. I've never felt it before. And now I'm a vivid sleeper and a dreamer. So I see a lot of things in my dream. And this was the first time that I saw a device and I saw something that was meant to happen and I felt it. So I did ask for a sign from God and I asked God, please show me if this is what you want me to do. If you want me to do something with this, show me a sign. And I did ask for a very specific sign. I said,
okay.
show me a green lizard. And I kid you not, the very next day, there was a green lizard on my porch.
Wow.
And that is what started the journey. So now on all of my brochures, you'll see a little green lizard at the bottom, just because the whole story is really evolved how this whole device came into place. And I really had nothing to do with it. I was like a conduit, receiving information. And then I just had to be the one to actually put it in action and do something with it. So it really came from a dream.
That's cool. I did not expect that answer. So I love that. That is really neat. So in this dream, did you picture yourself someday being a founder, being that CEO, being the company leader? Is that something that's kind of been inside you for quite some time?
I think so. I had a business several years, well, I would say 20 years ago. It was a small business, but it really became a successful business later on. But I didn't see myself going back into being a leader, into being my own business owner.
Mhm.
And I really thought I was going to license the device out, but that's not how it worked out.
Okay.
The more I started working on it, the more I was falling in love with the device. And then I started becoming the business itself as well. And I just couldn't stop it from there. So I had to kind of move with the energy because it wanted me to be the leader then.
Well, and I love the fact that it sounds like you're listening to little taps. You're watching for signs. It's not your way or the highway. You're actually letting that energy kind of direct you. And I think that that's something a lot of CEOs maybe don't do. So I think this is a really cool outlook that you have. to help
Mhm.
guide you toward, success and really making this product a success.
Yeah, thank you. I think so too. I'm a very intuitive person, but I didn't know I was going to use this intuition for this purpose.
So tell me a little bit, we touched on LunaLite just a minute ago, and we know it involves dental x-ray, but give me that elevator pitch. What is LunaLite? How can it help dental praxis?
Yeah, so LunaLite is a dental x-ray positioner, a laser guided, and it's better for your patients. It's less cumbersome for the patient. It's accurate. It's going to be very quick to take the x-ray. It helps you take an x-ray and also helps with open contact. So the good angles, so you get good angulation from it because the angles are designed to capture the right angle, or the angles are designed for that purpose. So that's why you're going to have better images, better looking images. Direct images accuracy is really going to be important for your offices, and it's going to be less cumbersome for your patients.
And, mentioning those dental assistants you did a minute ago, I'm sure this is a great plus for them that a lot of times they don't have to worry about patient comfort or making sure that they have to redo the x-ray. I'm sure this cuts down on that tremendously.
Yes, and not only that, but if you look at what's been used in the industry, it's been those RIN holders,
Mhm.
and those have never been disrupted ever. I mean, these are the things that have stood this test of time. And so we're looking at a digital format versus a manual format now. And so now we're looking at this little device that has calculated, and it's smart. It's smart because it helps you position. And I think that it's exciting because it is tapping into a workflow that's never been tapped before. Now it's also challenging too, because here you have something that you've used for a long time, then you have something new that you're going to look at and say, all
Uh,
right, do I want to switch now? So I do. Yeah, it's going to
yep.
be challenging. It definitely is challenging.
Well, and you read my mind. So that was what I was going to ask you was I think it's very cool that you're disrupting, but how do you get people to let go of that old mentality and actually try something new?
Yeah, and so I've been involved. Lucky for me, I've been involved with a lot of companies that launched. I was one of the first cone beam trainers with the ICAT family
Yeah.
before they were part of Danaher. And so we would go into this warehouse and we would literally, beta test these cone beam, the ICATs. And so I learned from a lot of companies that it took a little time. Now the ICAT was a little bit different, but I have worked with other companies with also digital sensors, also new into the industry. And it really is a lot of going back. It's consistent showing them the changes and the improvements. It's really training. At the end of the day, it's training an office. How do you go from this workflow to this one? What makes this better? And it's really just hold handing for a little bit of time and letting them know that the technology is there for them and the technology is there for the patients. So we're all very patient driven, and it's really important that we find the right solutions for our patients in order for them to have a good experience that they're going to want to keep coming back. And nobody wants to have those RIN holders in their mouth anymore. And there's better options now. There's a LunaLite where you don't have to have that in their mouth. And so I always feel like, just teaching them what is out there that they don't know about. And that's the exciting part about LunaLite.
One thing I always like to ask my guests on this Cellerant series is the fact that we have so many technology savvy young dentists and young team members now coming in. Is having a product like this that is very tech savvy, is having a product like this maybe easier to get them to understand than those who have maybe been in the dental industry for quite some time and are used to that certain way of doing things?
I think it depends. I think it really depends on the individual, and I also depend. It depends on if you're technology savvy and you love technology. I think you're going to be more enthusiastic about it rather than someone that doesn't really like technology. They're not going to be excited about any technology, really. If they're used to a certain way, they're not going to change that. And I'm not trying to make them change their mind either, because I wouldn't want someone to make me change my mind. However, if it was a good reason to show me how it's going to benefit me, then that's a whole different story. So you really have to tap into that and figure out what is it that they really need? And it's really investigating. That's part of the sales where you go in, you ask the questions. You can understand a person in about 10 minutes, and you really can focus in on what's the beauty of the technology and how it can help them because you've already tapped in and asked the right questions.
So, what's the thing that excites you most about running a business? What do you love most about it?
I love to see people's faces. I love to see them get excited about something new that's going to help them in their workflow, especially because I was a dental assistant for many years, and I knew, and I just had issues taking, taking X-rays.
Mhm.
So for me to see someone look at LunaLite and say, "Oh my gosh, I love this. I want to put it in my office." That's exciting. The most exciting part for me is when the patients say, "Oh, that's pretty cool. What is this?" And they want to ask questions, because when they ask questions, the assistant is now training them. And so now she's feeling excited about it because now she's becoming a trainer as
Mm.
well.
I like that. I'll put you on the spot here. What's the best piece of business advice you've ever got, or what's the one thing you hold to business wise every day?
I'm a faith-based person. So for me, faith is important.
Okay.
And I don't compromise when it comes to my faith. And that's the one thing that's really important for me as a business owner, is that I look, to a more of a faith-based approach to my business.
Okay.
And that's the one thing that I will always go back to. And what was the next question? I know there was two questions there.
No, well, I guess what's the one like piece of the thing that you really stick to every day as a business owner? And I guess if you're
Oh,
faith based, you have that faith as kind of your rock every day, right?
it is. It really is. And that's what's really whole. That is the whole part of LunaLite, the journey. It is the faith base, it is the dream, and now it's the business of it. And now just holding on to that faith. And that to me is that's my rock.
And I love that you use the word journey because we know a business always is. What's maybe been the toughest part of the journey so far for you?
Toughest part was the development side.
Okay.
That was really, really tough for me because I went in it on my own and I didn't really know what I was doing. Now, I had a little bit of experience several, maybe 20 years ago, but at this point, it was me. It was looking for someone or people or a company to help me create this device and be able to have a team that would help me. Now, that was really hard for me because I had met a lot of bad people, because there's a lot of bad people in the development industry, and I met a lot of wolves out there, and it was really heartbreaking. I went through so much in this project, and I lost a lot of money and worked with the wrong people,
Hmm.
and I think that was really hard for me to come, to be able to climb that hurdle and move forward, because I was going to stop after several times of this happening to me. But I just kept going because I knew that this dream wasn't just a dream. There was something about it. And that was the hardest part. So the beginning, the development side was hard for me.
Is there a correlation in your mind between being a dental business owner and being a dental business owner as a dental practice? So what I'm asking is this: we often say this: the dentist is the CEO of the practice. So do you see parallels between owning a business and owning a practice?
Owning a business and owning a practice. I Yes and no. Yes and
Okay.
no. Owning a business and owning a practice, you're more patient emphasized when you're
Okay.
owning a practice, versus owning a business and a product. So these are, I think, two completely different ways of
Okay.
having a business. And I think that's where it draws the line. So you really have to be more patient savvy than anything, versus selling a product that you're selling to an office or a school or a military facility or things like that, or
Uh-huh.
hospital.
So I know we often have dental team members who listen to this podcast, and I know you being a former dental assistant, what's a piece of advice you give to somebody who wants to start a business? What would you tell them about getting out there and pursuing those dreams that they may have?
Well, I think it's exciting. I think that if anybody wants to start a business, anybody really could, but I think they have to have a focus. They have to figure out what is it that they want. And you have to be really passionate about it. Just because you're in the dental industry for a long time doesn't mean you're passionate about it.
Mm.
That means that you're probably not going to be successful if you run something that's going to still be in the dental industry. So if it's something that you like outside of the dental industry, and dental is what's bringing the bread and butter home, then you can start a side hustle, do something that you really like, and start it as a hobby, and then kind of grow it from there. And if you see that people are like coming to you and maybe buying, whether it's like creating whatever you want to create, and people
Mhm.
are buying without you first launching, so do kind of like a market research first to see how many people are really going to be interested in it before you really fully launch something.
And last question for you on the business side. So I know you are part of Cellerant. What is it? How important is it for business owners to have some kind of a think tank where they can bounce ideas maybe off of other entrepreneurs and learn from each other?
I think it's so important. Without Celerant, it would have been really tough for me to really break into the dental industry and or even commercialize. So just working with my mentor, which is Melissa Turner, and also Lou Schumann, we have like worked together as a team. What strategy? They have been instrumental into the development of LunaLite to help me get into the masses, to teach me. Really, it was very much of a this teaching and learning from them, learning from what we can take, what route we can take LunaLite to. And so I really do believe that if you are launching something, get with the experts that are really good at what they do and really work with them. And I think that that's really going to help you accelerate to the next level.
Well, can't wait to see what happens with LunaLite. We will put the link to LunaLite so that you can check it out yourself in the show notes, as well. If you're reading this on drbicuspid.com, then obviously you will see that in the article that we are doing this as well. Suzanne, I enjoyed the conversation, and I really I love the mindset, and I can't wait to see this product grow.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Absolutely. And thanks to all of you who've listened to this episode of the drbicuspid.com podcast and our Cellerant CEO series. We'll be back soon with another episode and another CEO who is making a difference in the dental industry.